Now, of course, a budget document is not just a finance document, but a political document. Peggy Nash is the finance critic for the official opposition. And let's start with the official opposition's official response to this budget, Peggy.
Well, you know what is real in this budget are the austerity measures, many of which were announced in Budget 2012, which will ramp up this year and next year. That'll take even more money out of the economy. We'll see jobs lost as a result. And what's not quite so real is the money for training and infrastructure. This is just really rearranging the deck chairs. It's monies that are already out there. They're just being allocated differently. So, but the austerity measures are quite real, and those big bites will continue to take place.
Now, one of the questions that's been raised about this budget, Peggy, is that there isn't a lot of clarity around how some of the cuts will happen. There isn't even really clarity around how the increased revenue from closing tax loopholes, for instance, will happen. What's your sense of why that is? Why the vagueness in this document?
Well, there is not much transparency and accountability. There wasn't last year in the massive 1,000 pages of the Budget Implementation Acts. And of course, the Parliamentary Budget Officer was in court today trying to get the details of the cuts that were announced last year. And I mean, these were multi-year cuts. So these are going to accelerate and ramp up this year and next year. And to be quite frank, Amanda, we still don't really know where they will take place until they happen. So for example, search and rescue offices get closed and programs are cut. Service Canada offices are cut. Suddenly people have to drive hundreds, thousands of miles to get a social insurance card or a passport. So we see these cuts happening after the fact, but we're seeing cuts to food inspection, to transportation safety, and then there are cuts that we know will take place, $36 billion that will ultimately be squeezed out of healthcare transfers to the provinces, as well as cuts we've seen to EI, and of course the announcement last year that OAS in the future, people will have to work 2 years more.
We don't have a ton of time, but clearly parts of the business community are pleased with what they're seeing here, even if what we see is the extension of existing programs like capital cost depreciation for manufacturers. So for some, this is a budget that's doing what it should do. Do you recognize that there are some parts of it that will help the economy?
Sure, Amanda. There are things here that certainly we're recommending. The tax credit for small business hiring. We supported continuation of the accelerated capital cost allowance. We think it's positive that there's an initiative in the aerospace and forestry industry. So, I mean, for example, creating a minister for FedNor. We think this is a positive step, something that that we have had a private member's bill on. Unfortunately, there's no money attached to that ministry,
right,
but there are some positive things, certainly.
All right, Peggy Nash, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Amanda.